Hello, Stampers. It is Nemi Bathstone here with a recorded video for you featuring the Prairie Grass Stamper set. Where is it? Oh, forgot to grab it. So the Prairie Grass Stamper set is one of my favorites. As soon as I saw it, oh my gosh, I gotta get it. But not only because of its beauty, and the font is gorgeous too, but because my team name is Prairie Grass Stampers. So if you are not yet part of an amazing club of demonstrators, then you definitely want to join my team and community, and we have tons of fun. So this is one you definitely want to pick up. And yeah, like I said, we do have lots of fun. You're going to need a big block like this. And I mean fun as in we get together a lot and laugh and joke and eat. Because this one is a biggie. So it measures, let me just double check here. Oh, we're looking at like, I'll put it at the bottom. Just 5 1/4 by, let's see here. At least 3 1/4. So that's pretty big stamp. You can also use your Misty or Stamparatus or whichever stamping tool you actually have. Okay, so we worked on 4 cards, and in your kit you'll have the supplies for the 4 cards. So we have this one here, and then we have this one and this one, kind of similar but different techniques, so I want to share that with you. And then as well as this one. Now I didn't really like the background on this one, so I'm going to change it out, but the idea is there. And these ones, we'll work on this one so that it can dry. And then in the meantime, we'll finish the others and then come back to it. But this is what we're going to create. Okay, so this is, as you can see, is a cling stamp. And if you've been following along in my emails, you'll know that as of November, we will no longer have cling stamps. The September to December catalog is the last chance and last time you will see these rubber stamps. It's just that it's been difficult to source and the long-term sustainability of using cling stamps is not there. So Stampin' Up! Is switching to polymer stamps. So just a reminder, as well as our cases are changing, we're no longer going to have these either. They're all going to come in a beautiful case like our dies do. Oh, I just pulled this out because I'm trying to get prepped and ready for for my BOGO sale. So they will come in these beautiful plastic containers to match your dies and to save space because polymers are a lot thinner. Okay, so that's my sidebar. And let's get started. Your kit looks like this, so we're going to start with the circle. So these are actually maskings, and I gave another one just in case you want to try something different. And we're going to need this to also stamp our sentiment. And you're going to need black ink or any colored ink of your choice. Maybe you want to use Night of Navy. I'm actually going to use Secret Sea because it's become one of my favorites. I've been loving it lately. I'm just going to put the kit there. And I can't seem to get enough of it. Okay, so this is masking, and it comes in a double pack, or a big pack. I'll show it, I'll grab it. So these are masking papers. There's 12 in a pack, item number 155480. And so I gave you the whole strip, and then I gave you a different shape so you could try it out. So we're just going to take our paper trimmer and cut this off because we don't need the other half. And I'm just going to find the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's not what we're looking for. And then we have this half. And then since we're here, let's just score our paper at 4 1/4 as always. So now our cardstock is ready. This is thick basic white, and I prefer thick basic white whenever I'm doing a card base because of its weight. There we go. Now, as well, if you make a mistake, you can just take a piece of basic white and then put that over top and put in another layer. But we're just going to leave it as is. That's all I did here, just for simplicity's sake and to show you how it actually works. Okay, so now all we have to do is take our paper and find where we want to put it. So as you can see, I almost put it centered, but just slightly above center. So I'm just gonna open it so that it's nice and flat. Move my stuff out of the way. And you're just gonna try and figure out where you want that circle to be. So these are 5 inches wide. So we are technically 2.5 inches from the center, if that really matters. Okay, so I don't mind having that top piece there. So maybe I purposely did that, don't know. But I think I'm good with having it right about there. So we're just gonna line it up to the top. And I'm just gonna eyeball it and be center. Now, if you wanna be particular, then I said it was 5, so you just need to find the 2.5 inch center. So if I was gonna use this, so that's 1, 2, 2.5, which means I'd have to move this over, just like something like that or something, right? Assuming that, oh, I guess I should make sure I'm centered there. Something like that. Anyway, I don't need to be that particular. So we're just gonna take this mask off. So it's very, very sticky. Sometimes I find it's too sticky and it rips the front. So I just like to pat it and get it a little less sticky, because as you start stamping or blending, I should say, and you will need lots of blending brushes, it has a tendency to sometimes stick too much. So, because they're like, it's crazy how sticky it is. Okay, and then we're just gonna take the other half off as well and do the same thing. So you could also just put it on your clothing and you get a little bit of stickiness there. Okay, so let's line this up. I'm gonna flip it upside down so I can see. And then we're just gonna stick that on. Hang on. Get this garbage out of the way. Uh-oh, mine ripped. No biggie. It's just masking tape, so I'm not concerned. Okay, we're just gonna find that center. Yeah, I accidentally ripped it. That's great though, because now you can see all the boo-boos. Okay. And again, doesn't really matter as long as I've got a full circle. And like I said, if you make a mistake, you can always just use another piece of white. Okay, let's make sure. There we go. See, it just fits. Like, we're using it for masking. We're not using this for perfection. Okay, and I just want to make sure. Oh, I need to move a little more to my left. It's not exactly centered. So we're just going to pull that off. Try that again. Oh, now it's curling. Not winning. It's not going great, is it? Okay, I'll use my ruler. We are going to use the ruler. So there's my center point. And here's my center point. Where is my center point? Oh, since it's ripped, I'll just go like this. Then I'll know where my center point is. Too funny. Too funny. Okay. I'm making this look complicated for you, and that really is not the point. It's not supposed to be complicated. That's my center. Roughly there. It's a circle. No biggie. Preferably a straight circle would be ideal. Oh my gosh, why am I struggling? I've never struggled this much. That's hilarious. Okay. At least this video will provide you with some feedback and entertainment. Please enjoy the show. Oh, yay. I think we got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it. Now let's join these puppies together because we do not want a funny gap there. Otherwise, it will be noticeable. Okay. Oh, no, now it's too much to the other side. Oh my gosh, I think I'm just gonna like make a new one. Test. Awesome. Okay, let's start here. Okay, as I lay it down, I'm just trying to find where I want that center to be. Oh, and I ripped it a bit. That's okay. Not a big deal. That looks pretty good. So we're just going to make sure that the edges here are flush because we don't want our ink to go underneath. Now, using whatever inks you like, and if you're a little nervous about maybe touching the bottom, you can take a Post-it note if you want and just put that there so you don't flood into the space. So you can use whatever colors you want. What did I choose? I chose to use Pool Party, I think, Timid Tiger, and Strawberry Slush. Those were my colors. So I'm just gonna lay this flat, make sure I'm in the circle. So now taking your blending brushes. So I have my pinks, my blue, and my blue, and my light blue. Okay, so I like to start with the Timid Tiger. So we'll start with the yellow, or sorry, the orange. Now, if you don't have a glass mat like I do, because I can just rub ink on here, you can take paper. So I'll just show you. So just take some scrap paper that you can actually just ink on. Because as you pick up ink, you don't want that funny circle. See those funny marks and stuff? You don't want that. You just want that smooth look going in on the bottom. See, I already got a boo-boo there. Don't want that. That's okay. We'll make sure the stamp covers it. So we're just going to make sure that we're putting that color along the bottom or bottom third. So we're just cutting this circle into 3. And if you need more ink, just grab more ink, rub it out, and then put that over top. Okay, and we're going to try and cover that blemish mark. Just going to see if there's something under. Nope. There must have been something inside my brush that caused that. Okay, so I'll leave that open just in case. Now we're going to grab our red, ink it up. There's something on my ink there. So again, just going to come in and do the same thing. Brush that on as you like. It looks funny right now, but it'll look better after. I guess my brushes need a cleaning because I got a streak up there. So now we'll grab our blue. This one is a little lighter, so I shouldn't have as much problems per se. And it doesn't matter. Every time you do this, you're gonna have a different pattern, a different look. So if you're looking for perfection or you want this to be the same every single time, not gonna happen. Blending does not work that way. Unfortunately, it is meant to have mistakes, but good ones. And then what's gonna happen is as you're going around the edge, it'll give us that circle mark. At least we hope it does. Okay, and then you can come in and and you can go as light or as dark as you want. Okay, and then wherever you think you need more, just blend more. Just want to blend those lines together so it's not so harsh. And I probably need more blue up there. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So again, just pick whatever 3 colors you want to go together. I was trying to go with a daytime kind of look. And then we're just going to peel our masking paper off. Or not. Okay, there we go. See, it rips. Okay, and just slowly peel it back. Now remember, we made it a little dirty so that way it wouldn't peel any layers off our thick basic white. There you go. And you can reuse this, by the way. I ripped mine, but if you don't rip yours, you can reuse. Okay, there we have it. That is what it looks like. So now all we have to do is take our stamps. So like I said, I liked using Secret C. So I'm just going to grab my Secret C. And then we're going to grab the two that are in here. I really like these two. So we're gonna start with our wheat, and that'll be our center point. And then we'll add in the other grass on the other two sides. Now I'm going a little crooked just to make it fit on the block and because I also like it that way. Okay, so we're gonna take, our wheat. It's a little bit bigger, so we'll go this way. There we go, nice. And we're just gonna stamp it right in the center. And we're gonna go off a little, just FYI. So then we're gonna make sure we're in all three colors. And that will be our center focal point. There we go. So now we're gonna do the grass on either side. And you can do as many layers as you want, by the way. I did 3, you can do as many as you like. And you don't assume or need to worry about perfection, okay? And we'll do another one. So the other thing with cling stamps is I can't see, so I don't know if my grasses are together or not. Oh, see, I almost covered it up. And then you can try and get it in a straighter line than I did. Okay, so there you go. And then we had, oh, I still needed that. And then we had our little piece here. So we're just gonna take our sentiment. And I use sometimes life is just hard. And that's right, it really is. And then we're gonna take this again, just tap it lightly, stamp it on the scrap piece of paper I gave you, and then we're gonna fussy cut that and put it there across, just like so. So we're just gonna grab our scissors. And you can cut this however way you like. Now, if you don't like fussy cutting around the words and you want it, just keep it simple, then yes, just cut it into a strip and you'll be perfectly fine. I think we might have did that with a couple other ones. Anyway, at this point, you can fast forward and just go to our final piece, which is assemble it together, which really isn't that much. Like this is literally our last piece on this card. So ink blending is obviously a simple and creative technique, which you would pay a fortune for if you were to go buy it as a Hallmark card. And as you can see, just use 3 colors. Now I prefer to use uneven number colors, again, kind of like similar to embellishments. You have that unevenness. It just creates that better color look. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, so there we go, we're done. Now all we have to do is grab some minis to put onto the back and then pick out whatever embellishments you have from your stash to just add that little bit of, you know, touch to it. Now I believe I had butterflies, so that's what I used. I didn't pack any embellishments in your kit. Just figured just use whatever's in your stash. And also, it doesn't really need it. So that was the other thing. You could just leave it as is and it's perfectly fine. So we're just gonna take that, put it onto the front of the card like so. And then stamp our inside. I'm just gonna use the You're Not Alone. You're not alone, I'm here for you. So what that says, no, that's too small. I thought I could use a smaller block. Okay, so I'm just gonna stamp that because I can't put my head in the camera. There we go, you're not alone. And no, you're not. Okay, so let's find some embellishments. Like I said, just use whatever you have in your stash. I chose to use, in your collection, I chose to use the butterflies. Okay, I gotta clean these up because it's gonna drive me nuts. And the thing is, when you have ink, like I do, I've been crafting today and I've just been making so many mistakes. dropping my ink pads, running. Oh, anyway, too many distractions, I think. So I don't want it. I just want to make sure we're good. I got to make sure there's nothing on my hands as well. Okay. So we're just going to add 3 butterflies. Oops. Gonna burnish that because it's sticking up too much. And I think I'm gonna put one there because that's where my boo-boo is. So I'll grab a mini butterfly, just a small one, and stick it there to cover up my blemish. And then I'm gonna probably stick a couple big ones maybe. Put another one up there, and then one over, oh, maybe another mini over here. And voila, we have our first card. Ta-da! Now, you had that circle, right? So you can do the exact same thing. So the only difference is you're gonna put the circle there, and then you're gonna do the outer edge, let's say with yellow. So let me show you that. So let me grab a piece of white. I don't know if I actually put that in my kit. Whew. Just give me a sec. I may have given you an extra. So let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably did. Yep. Okay, so let's do that. You probably have an extra basic white in your thick basic white. So let's do it. So we're just gonna score it. So I'm just off to the side here, scoring my paper, my cardstock, my card front as well. And then folding it over as usual. Let's get these out of the way before I get ink on everything. Red, orange, yellow. So I like to put my brushes in rainbow order, so everybody's a bit different. Or some people just throw them in a cup, but I'll just give you a quick sneak peek of what mine looks like. Well, one of them. So this is one set here where I have them all kind of in rainbow order. So you can do yours however you like. Oops, just fell over. So let me fix that. There. So let's grab just gonna make sure I don't have ink on my hands. Okay, so there's our card front again. So I'm gonna put these away for a sec. So once again, where did I put that circle? Okay, maybe we aren't doing this. I had the circle right here. And the joy of cleaning up. Doo-doo-doo. Whoa. Just dropped my inks. Where did it go? Ay vey. Okay, we've got our ovals right here, or our arch. And my circle was right here. Oh, there it is. It's under the card. Duh. Okay, geez Louise. I'll try and cut that out. Okay, here is your circle. So again, we're just gonna peel that off and just make it a little less sticky and a little more dirty. So, you know, just rub it on your clothes or something. Then we get that little less tackiness. And then we're gonna find our spot. And then we're gonna grab a yellow. Yeah, I got Daffodil Delight sitting right here. Or you use Darling Duckling, whatever yellow you got. And we're gonna do the same but opposite. So we're gonna circle in the middle. See that yucky blob? Don't want that. And then we're just gonna fan out. Fan out along the edges. And it'll give us the opposite look. So let's try that again. Just a wee bit. I don't want to go too far. I went a little far here. I can see it. Now, if you ever reuse this, you got to be careful. I'd probably do a darker color or the same yellow because the ink will peel onto the front of your card. Okay, so we've got just enough. I'll put this back into my side there, and as I peel it off, and if you want to keep them and reuse them again, all I do is I just store it here on the inside, and then it just stays in my stamp set with it. And now you've got kind of like that halo look that looks kind of like, you know, the sun. Let's get that off there. So now you can do the same. So you can take you're just going to do the opposite, right? Or we did the opposite in blending. So now we're just going to take this, put it there. And you could have you could have put it in the sun is another option. That could have been that could be really cute too, or would be real cute. I should have did that. And we're going to have this overlap as much as we can. And this too. There we go. Oh, I kind of like that one better. And then you can plug your sentiment wherever you like. So there you go. So you have a different view, different technique. You can have your sentiment here now or something instead of down here. And then put some embellishments to spice it up a bit. Okay, so now we've gotten 2 down. So again, now that was in your kit as well, but it wasn't a sample. So now let's work with this one. So this one I gave in your kit is a piece of, and it's slightly bigger, just an FYI, is a piece of our watercolor paper because we're gonna use watercoloring. So just take your watercoloring and do the usual, which is cut it down to size, which is 4 1/4. Because I think the piece I gave you is bigger, by 5 1/4. Now, you can keep these strips if you want or toss them, whatever is your preference. Okay. Now, for this one, I used lots of colors. So I kind of wanted like a grass with a sunset thing going and then some darkness on the top. And so I used a lot. And if you don't have, I'll show you how I use ink spots for it. And then I also show you how I use inks. So I've got a bit of yellow. And I believe I used Darling Duckling just to get the brighter yellow. And then I used for the green along the bottom, I used Lost Lagoon. And then for the pink in there, I believe I used both Flirty Flamingo and the Strawberry Slush. So we'll see how Flirty Flamingo goes first. And then I used Cloud Cover and as well as my Secret Sea. Okay, just a few colors. Okay, so I'll move that up. So let's get these open. So you will need a painting brush. So we have sets that come in 3. So I grabbed the fat one. So they do come in sets of 3. You can fill this up with water, but because I'm doing with so many, I prefer to just use a bowl of water. And then I need some paper towels. So be right back. Okay, I'm back. And that's just to change in between colors. Okay, so let's grab our Lost Lagoon. And what I like to do is I just like to squeeze it and you get ink on there. See? And then we're just going to take a little bit of water, dab it into the ink, and pick some of that ink up. And then we're just going to take the bottom and like literally wet it to whatever our heart desires. Doesn't matter. And you can put as much or as little as you like. And the thing is, the more you put in, say you want those dark lines, dark spots, then the darker it'll get. Now I am getting water, so this is why we like to have a paper towel handy. So I'm just gonna clean my brush. So here's my water. Just cleaning it off. And now your paintbrush is clean, even though it's stained, when you see no more streaks of ink. So you can see here, there's none. So now I know I can switch colors. So I'm just gonna do my yellow. So again, just gonna squeeze it to get some of that in there. Ta-da! I should have cleaned those. Just pile it on top. There we go. And we're gonna again grab some water and drop it into our ink. And then we're just gonna layer that on top. Just following the lines. It's okay if you have some white gaps. This is art. So we're back in kindergarten school. And if you want darker, you can pick up the darker with less water. And then you can create those dark pools in here. See? And you get that darkness. It'll dry like that as well. So again, and you can make this as thick or as wide as you like, maybe just a bit more. You can water it down by just adding water. So now it's watering it down, you can see. So that's really just choice. And then just add more. Now, if you're gonna have to let this dry, or you can just use your heat tool to dry it off. Okay, so that's our yellow. So we got yellow all over, so you can see. I'm just gonna clean it up. So now let's grab our pink. Oops, forgot to squeeze somewhere in there. Oh, and I got it all on my hand. So let's, again, add our water. Now what happens when you close the ink pad? Nothing, because this ink pad will flip on top. And depending how you store it, and even if the water drips into here, it's just gonna absorb it and mix with the ink. So you're not doing anything wrong. You're not gonna wreck your ink pad or anything. It's just adding more ink. More water is just gonna add ink, because this is a water-based ink, right? So don't worry about that. Okay, so I've got more of a thicker band of pink here, and then I'm just gonna go in with darker spots. So I'm not using a lot of water, I'm just going in with darker spots. See, didn't even get more water. I just want that darkness there. Lots of fun, I'm telling you. Okay. Let's add more up there. Trail it up. I don't know. It's whatever your heart desires. So again, see, brush is clean. And we can move on to the next one. Okay, what happens if I don't have the inks, but I only got ink spots? Easy peasy. Just dump it onto your mat. If you don't have a mat, you can also dump it onto your ink block. And then same thing. I'm gonna take my water, I'm gonna add it to it, and again, bring it onto my cardstock. So you're gonna get all that cloud cover in there. And then I ran out. So if you run out, just add more. Bloop. Just like that. Mix it up. And we're gonna put that in here. Okay, so I'm gonna clean it up. And then when you're done, just wipe it. Like I said, it's water-based ink. Dry it off if you need to. Now you also see it's curling up. That's okay. It's only because it's nice and wet. You can stick a block on it and it'll flatten. We're gonna take I have some in there already, some Secret C. And then we're gonna add a streak in there. Like there's this big dark cloud, which we've had plenty of here in Winnipeg, in Manitoba lately. Yesterday was insane. It would not decide whether or not it was gonna sun or have rain, but it was crazy. So, you know, I'm sitting in the soccer stands and it's supposed to be a summer day and I've got a long sleeve shirt on, my manager jacket, And then I've got my winter coat, like a lighter spring, fall winter coat. And then, no, it's a winter coat that's good to -15, so whatever that is. And then I had an umbrella and a toque because my hair was just getting blown like crazy by the wind. And I don't like it when it's in my ears, so I usually have a toque or something available. And so I had to wear that too. Anyway, it would rain, stop for a minute, and then rain again. Rain for like 2 minutes, stop, and then rain again. It was ridiculous. Okay, so it's curling because it's wet and you can feel it when you touch it. But look, it doesn't smear or anything like that. But you can also just take your heat tool and dry it off and it'll dry. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that pretty? You can make it whatever you want. And look, they're not the same. They will always be different. Okay, but we're gonna let that one dry for now and we'll come back. It's such an easy one, super easy. Okay, so we'll put that aside. I'll just make sure everything's all dried up here. Yep. And then we'll start our next card. So how easy is that, right? And then everyone's gonna think you spent hours, just like Rice Krispies, trying to make that look so pretty. Okay, so let's go to the next. So with that one, you should have a card base, which we do, and a little wee circle. We can do that one first. Well, we can stamp that one and get it out of the way. And then we're gonna go to our next one. So again, squeeze me. We're gonna score this as our usual. And then this will be for the card that just got painted. Okay. And then here, we're just gonna take our yellow. I probably have enough yellow on there and we're just gonna add it around. And you should have enough ink left over that you don't always need to go dab. Okay, just add a bit around there. And then we're gonna grab our Secret C again. Now I'm done with these colors, I think. And we're gonna grab that sentiment that says sending the healing power of love. And we're gonna put that one on there. Okay. We're just gonna stamp. And drop in place, just in the middle. And there we go. So then that card is ready. Once we're ready, once we let it dry a bit. Okay, so as we let that one dry, I'm just gonna clean this up because I know I don't need it just yet. I may not need it for another card. I don't remember. We're gonna do our next one. So our next one is the same idea, except we are going to blend. So that's the next set of cards that's in your kit. So your kit should have another 3 white. Like, I know, it's all white. Oh, except for when we get to there. And then we'll add that there. Okay, so this is our card base. So let's just get that out of the way. So again, I just always make you score as much as I can because I'm not always perfect at it. And then I have a tendency to, you know, go crooked every once in a while. So then this way you can't blame me. You can only blame yourselves. Okay. Now this piece is slightly bigger. It fits exactly. So you can trim it down now so that you get, so that the edges aren't white, or you could trim it afterwards. It doesn't really matter. So I'll just trim it down now since I have my paper trimmer out. And, or you could leave it for the full front. So that's really optional, which is why I just gave you the full sheet. But we're gonna go 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. You go through a lot of white when you're blending. Like, you can blend on color, don't get me wrong, but it is a lot nicer when you do it that way. And then you should have a die cut in there as well for stamping. Okay, so for this one, I used Garden Green. I used Daffodil Delight. I used my orange again, Timid Tiger. I used Balmy Blue. And then I put in a little bit of Secret Sea, I believe, in the middle. Or did I use Pecan? Oh, I think I used a bit of Pecan in there too. Oh my. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. Just a little crazy. Okay. Let's stack them up. Let's start with the first one. So, any green you have. Don't think you have to use mine, just green. Because I wanted it to look like grass on the bottom. So again, move that out of the way. I'm gonna make sure I have a paper towel handy. And I'm gonna spritz it so I can wipe up any ink. So I'm gonna take my green, and I probably have lots on here. And again, just smear that on there. Yep, I have a lot on there. Just gonna try and get some of that fuzzies. Got some yuckies there, so I'm gonna flip it over. Okay, and I'll try that again. That's better. So yeah, when in doubt, flip your paper. And then we're just gonna add that green in there. So you can go as dark or as light as you want. I'm gonna go dark in the corner here and then just let it go light down there. So I'm just gonna grub and then just keep going here. Okay, so really, it's really up to you. Okay, and then we're gonna switch colors again. And then we're gonna bring in our yellow. Lello. But before I do that, I'm gonna wipe this up. Now, because I'm right-handed, I like to brush this way. I find it difficult going like this, but everyone has their preference. So you do what works for you. So I'm gonna pick up some yellow, rub it on here, and then just come across. So again, make sure you have a mat or something underneath, and then all that ink can go there. Okay, and you could use whatever yellow you have. Nice bright yellow. And yellow and green, I think, make blue, or am I right or wrong? I don't know. So there you go. I think I need a bit more over here in that one spot. Like so. And then I think I'm happy with it. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our next color. I'm just gonna wipe up again so I don't get ink onto my orange brush. And we're gonna grab an orange, any orange you have. Okay, I'm using Timid Tiger, just as a reminder. And then we're gonna add that layer in there. Oh, yeah, something funny. So I'm just gonna take my brush, rub it there, because I got these funny streak lines. Remember I said we don't want those? And now I have them. So either I'm applying too much pressure in that one spot, or I got something on my brushes. So I'm just doing small little circles, right? And again, I can actually just pick up the ink off here. I don't even need to ink, because that's how the glass mat works. Just go a little darker then. I don't know what that is. What happened there? Something's on there. I had something's in my brush. I can see that these little specks keep coming up. Okay. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of the crumb cake. Maybe I can get rid of some of that. I'll start over here. See if I can blemish that out a bit. What the? My brush is going crazy. Okay, let's make sure we're holding our brush properly and even, because I'm getting those funny streaks again. Let's switch colors. I'm gonna try pecan. Maybe that's, could be part of my problem. Just to get rid of those streaks. Come in with pecan. See if I can fix that up, because it's darker. And get rid of those crazy, stupid lines that are peering in there. Might help. Get some orange going. Okay. Now let's get some balmy blue. So it's a little lighter. I'll clean this up. It's gonna spritz a bit so that my dry paper towel, oops, can pick things up. I just moved my, there we go. Blue, let's try some balmy blue in there. See if we can fix the sky, okay? And we'll get some sky going in there. It's a dark, this one's more like fall. Okay. Now, some people say, oh, you shouldn't touch it because your hands are oily. So you could always just use a Post-it note or some paper. And then try and get your hands, keep your hands from getting oil all over your card. Okay. So then we're going to just fill in the gap with some Secret C. There we go. That's good enough for me. Then I'm gonna get my dark blue, like my dark blue. I probably have enough on there. Let's see. Oh, that's pretty clean. Just gonna go in there. Grab some Secret C. Whew, look at that. See how swooshy that is? And then we're gonna, oh, it's ruining it. Just gonna fill in the gap. Now I'm gonna fix that ugliness up there with my balmy blue. I don't know what happened there, but let's grab some balmy blue again and fix that. All it does is just covers it up. All we're doing is just adding more ink to it. So then it gives it that look. It doesn't know. No one will know, really. They'll just think it's part of the card. Now, you can do the same with a scrapbook page. It'll just take longer because it's bigger. Well, I guess it depends. Oh, I kind of got a line going there. I guess it depends on how big your card is, your scrapbook page is. Like if you're 12 by 12 scrapbooker, then blending might take you a little longer, but if you're 8.5 by 11, it shouldn't take you that much. Okay. Now you could also have some fun with this and splatter some water on there. Now I didn't do it on mine because I used, so here, I didn't do it on mine because I used embellishments, but you can on this one. And what happens is the water just gives it that, because it's water, it's gonna pull the ink off, like it's gonna wash it. So like I said, you could take one of the other painters. Now you may have the old set and you also have the new set. And you can just take, because this one's a thinner one, just one of the three, two of the three. And you can just literally splatter. Add a little bit more water there. Wherever you like. Now you see that? Let's see if it actually shows up. You can see it pooling where in certain spots, so that now you lose your water. Now that one's not a good one because it's got a double. Don't like that. I don't like those. I don't like the big splatter, but we're gonna put our stamp set, so it might fix that up. Now, to make it dry quicker, you can just take your paper towel, blotch it, and it'll dry faster. So now we're gonna take the big block and grab that Secret C again, which is almost black. But like I said, you could just use your black, whichever black ink you have. I'm just gonna clean that tip in case I accidentally push too hard. Okay. There we go. Just clean that up a bit. So now we're just going to take it. So move those. And we're going to find our spot on there. Take our big block and drop it in place. Or in my case, I just literally dropped it. And there it is. Woohoo! Looks good, I think. And then we have a little sentiment. Yep. And then this we're going to stamp with again. You're not alone. I'm here for you. Oh, so I have it already on a block. Again, using my Secret C. I'll just stamp that right on there. Awesome. And then we're just going to use dimensionals and stick that on. So I've got some from my leftover paper pumpkin kit. And as you can see, this is a piece of scrap that I used. So if you don't have embellishments, you can just splash water. And then we'll put that wherever you want. And then we'll just stick that on the front. Now, before we stick it on the front, we're just gonna rough the edges a bit. And that ink that's along the edge will lift up and be seen. I didn't do this with my other card, but I wanted to do with this so that you can see the differences. Just taking our scissors. These are my crappy ones. These aren't the ones I use to trim with. This is the one I use with glue and stuff. That's why it has the charm on the end. It's one of those charms they gave away from a last retreat we had. Okay, and then we're going to add that to the front of the card. And then that's it. Now you can add it with dimensionals. Did I do that? Yes, I did. So we'll Pop-Tart it, because I use dimensionals. These are minis. Like, you cannot get these dimensionals. They came from a paper pumpkin kit. And I was like, oh, I kind of like these sizes. But they are pretty, they're kind of in between. They're just slightly smaller than our standard. That's what I've noticed. Okay. Now you could also use a funky decal die, like our rectangle die that has some nice trimming. And then there's my 2 cards. So again, you can use either embellishments, or you can use, I have to use butterflies because I need to cover up that blush. Or you could just use water. But because I made such a mess there, I'm going to stick a butterfly there to try and cover up my mess. One there. Then I'll just stick another up here and another there. Although I like those water ones better. Okay, so that is our other card. So then let's go back to our water painted one, because it would be dry, and it is. And we're just gonna, again, same thing. We're going to take that big stamp, since we just used it, ink it up. Make sure we have enough ink. Drop it in place and push down. And then lift up. And there we have it. Looks good. And then we had our circle that we did. Uh-oh. It's here somewhere. Just looking for my card base that I had sitting here. Oh, there it is. Found it. But now, oh, there's my circle. Okay. Then we'll add that one there. So again, dimensionals, if you like, or just lay it flat, whatever your preference. You could also put some ribbon behind it if you want. I just like to keep it simple. I keep it simple only because there's so much, I want people to look at the pattern. Anyway, oh, I forgot to make it 4 inches wide. My mistake. So we'll just cut off an edge. Yep, forgot to trim it. That's fine. Let's make sure. Yep, we're good. I just forgot to trim that edge. Okay, and then this will just go on top. This time I'm just going to glue it down. Just grab your adhesive of choice, whichever is your preference. Put my initial in the middle. Oops. And then just lay that on top of the card. So this is a great card for anyone who might be sick or going through anything, but it says sending the healing power of love. Love it. I like it. And again, let's just follow trend and use our, oh, I just poked myself, and use our butterflies. And yeah, you saw that I poked myself, right? And just stick to the minis on this one for now. Maybe there. Okay, and there you go. So this one was my original, and then here's my second one I've made with you here. So you can see they'll never ever be the same. They'll always just keep changing. Okay, and our last one. So our last one we made is very similar, but I really didn't like that background. So I thought, okay, let's try going with a darker one. So in your kit, I should have given you a darker one. And then you're gonna need that. Oh, and I gave you some more freebies, I think. So we're gonna score this one. You know, I'm gonna take the other one because it's already scored. For some reason, it's already scored. Kind of like that. And then put that back. Okay. Now, what I did with the other one was I took my white ink and ran it over top to make it darker. Now, what you can also do, I have 2 pieces, so that's why I can do this. I'm just going to take my Secret C and run it over top to give it that green look. And now you get that kind of look. Now you can do the same. I better get this out of the way before I get it covered. Now you can do the same, but with white instead, if you prefer. So I got another piece here. And you could take white and similarly go over top, and you're just touching it so it touches the whatever's risen or whatever's puffed up, like the higher side, and you get that look. Okay, so you can use either one. So there's one with tone on tone, and then there's one with just the white. So really, It's up to you as to which one you like better. But I wanted to show you both so that you can actually see. And we'll see what it looks like when we put it on there. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 inches because I noticed it's bigger. And we'll go 5 1/4. And now we're even. So you should have 3 circles. You should have 3 circles. Where's my third? Oh, there it is. Stuck underneath. There it is. So we have 3 circles. And so with this one, I used fresh freesia. And I think I used the yellow again, which is Darling. I think I used, it looks brighter. So I'm going to go with Darling Duckling. Lots of inks, right? So we're going through a lot of inks here. And I think this is my fresh freesia. Let's see here. Just trying to see which one's my darker one. They both look the same. They both look the same. Yep, doesn't matter which one I use. So we'll go with this one. So we're just going to add a little bit of the fresh freesia along the bottom. So again, more blending. Do a lot of blending. And then we're just going to add that to the bottom of each circle. I don't know, I just really like it. I don't know about you, but I find blending soothing. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But do you feel the same way? Because I do. I mean, what is your favorite blending color combos? Because I struggle with that. I do rely a lot on my color combos kits or going to Pinterest and saying, fresh freesia color combo, you know, and seeing what other people have come up with or suggested. Because I honestly struggle with trying to figure out which color combo to use. Okay, so I'm gonna grab Darling Duckling. Now this one I'm only using 2 this time. So that's really strange, right? Feels super strange. Oh, way too much on that. Let's get some of that ink off. It's not a bad thing. Okay, I'm not gonna re-ink. I'm just gonna pool whatever is on here. Okay, and then we're just gonna stamp. So super duper easy. Now you could also, if you prefer, you could stamp onto a bigger piece of white cardstock. And then from there, just take your circle dies, stitch circles, and place it wherever you want so that you actually know where you're gonna stamp. So this one I kind of felt like it was a little lonely. This, like here, I felt like it needed more bushing and more. And then this one, on the middle one, I used the tips of the plant. So here we're gonna aim for like the middle. So then that way we get more of the bushiness onto here. So again, I'm using Secret C because it is my preference. And I'm just gonna ink up the middle like so. And then I'm not very good at doing the drop it in place. That's not me. So I don't want to clean up all that ink. So we're just going to put that there. And we're going to find that middle or drop it, whichever you prefer. And just put that there. And hopefully we've got it. Oh yes, very pretty. Now you could also take the tip, and I feel like I need one more in there. So I'll add some more, and that's good enough. So that's my middle. That's this round one right there. So now we're gonna do the middle. So you do this whatever order you want. And we're gonna grab, now this one I felt like it needed more bushing. So we'll just add that there. And then see, we don't have enough sprigs on the bottom, in my opinion. So we're gonna grab this guy And we'll add some more grass wherever. We're just adding like the tip because it feels a little empty. There we go. Gives it a little bit more. We could even add, if you just take the top part and add some more there, you can. There we go. Because we're going to cover it with a little bit with the sentiment. And then the last one was mostly just the bottom of this one. So we'll ink it up and we'll throw the bottom on there. So you get a lot of that little bush. So some more if you want, and there you go. And then we'll put that together. So now it becomes, which one do I use? Which one appeals to me more? And I think it's going to be this one because it really stands out on that tone on tone versus the white, which I felt was a little stark. Yep, I think I like the dark one better. So we'll swap. We'll use the other one for a different card. Okay, so this is really easy. All we do is position where we want it. Right. And this one we'll use embellishments, or sorry, dimensionals is what I meant to say. And let's just make sure I did trim it. Okay, so we're just gonna go like that. So then we're just gonna grab this little piece. It should say very sorry. I think we've used every single one except for this one, which is my shoulder is yours. So we can put that on the inside. And then grab that ink again. And we've literally used every stamp set. Wow. And we're just gonna stamp. So very sorry that didn't turn out as nice. So we'll flip it over. Do it again. Much better. Got that weird italic S. And then we just really, all I did was trim it. So we're just going to grab our scissors and trim it like so. And I'll just take a little bit more off this end. And then that's what's going to go on top. So let's get these glued down. So we're just going to add our adhesive. So I'll stick that right about there. I'm just making sure I'm kind of equal distance from the two corners there. And then this will go right about there. So then this one is right about there. So we're going to add some adhesive onto this. Wherever you really like. It's really up to you. Okay. And then we'll just use some dimensionals on this guy. I'm just trying to get rid of all these onesie twosie sets I have lying around. Okay. And then we're going to pop that in place like so. And then here, this will just go here perfectly. And we'll just use mini glue dots and dimensionals for that. So we'll need one on this side. And then we'll need a glue dot on the other side. Okay, and then that'll just stop right there. And then add it to our card base, which is right here. Awesome. Okay. And then we'll put that right on top, like so. Now you could also go dark on dark, whatever. Feel free to swap out whatever you want from my kit. Don't have to do what I do. I'm just here to inspire you. And you could say, nope, don't like that, but I do prefer this. And then you do whatever. You do what you do, what you like. And there we go. We are done with just a few embellishments left. I'm just going to push that in place. Voila. I don't know. That's like Marie saying, voila. Okay. So I used some of these old purplies, purple fine shimmer gems, just because I have a little bit of purple, right? We used fresh freesia. So that's why I kind of wanted to use the fresh freesia in there. So we'll add wherever we want. So I'm going to add a couple, maybe one there. And then one up here. And then I'll add maybe a couple over there instead. So I'll do one here. And maybe one over here. So now we're at 4. And then we need that 5th one, which can go somewhere in this mess that I made over there. Okay. And then we didn't use everything except for this one. So I'm going to take this and literally put it on the inside so that we can say we've used the entire stamp set. Prairie grass stamp set for everything. Okay, so my shoulder is yours. I'm literally just going to put it in the bottom corner because the font is so small. And then that gives you space to say whatever you want to say. There we go. It's in the corner. And now we can say we are done every single one. Every single stamp set. Or stamp in the set is what I should say. Okay, let's have a quick peek here. So this was my original, didn't like it, switched it to Secret C. So you got Secret C in your kits. And that was that one. And then we also did the painting. So using water with our ink. So there's that. And then we also blended instead. So similar, except, and then we use water splotching. And here we just used gems. So that's our 3rd. And then we also did this one with the circle with the masking. So that's 4. And then I threw in an extra because I wanted to show you how to use that extra circle, which was the circle one. And we didn't finish it completely, but that is 5. So then that way you have a little bit more to go with. So you got to tell me which one you liked most. Which one's your favorite? You know, the circles with the Secret C, the painting technique, the blending technique, or the masking technique. So those are all your different options, and would love to know in the comments what you prefer most, so that next time if I do a class, especially technique class, then I know exactly what your preference is and I can start building on that as well. So I hope you had fun. Looking forward to seeing what you create with this prairie grass stamp set and share with me. So have a great day and happy stamping.